So you're on the side screen while I'm live on YouTube and Facebook, and now my team can edit out the beginning because I've got Instagram over here since StreamYard doesn't do all, but I've got a really important piece of information for all of my Realtor friends today. There are some changes afoot, not just at the Circle K, and if you know that reference, high five, you're my friend, and you should totally put that into the comments if you get that reference. But you may start seeing emails come to you shortly from virtual tour providers, from companies like Asta Room and Matterport, letting you know that you have a chance to make extra money in real estate as a side hustle. Woo! Now, this is not for those of y'all that think real estate is a side hustle. I'm only talking to those who are tippy top professionals, which is probably y'all, let's just be honest, because there are often times in your real estate business when you'd like to make a little extra cash. Well, there's an opportunity coming your way, but I need you to stay tuned in and share this with somebody in your office, because this opportunity is coming with a lot of liability, potholes, and landmines. So as of March 19th, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, which are, of course, the GSEs, the government sanctioned entities up in Washington, D.C., that backstop our mortgage system in the country, they have approved a new desktop appraisal program. Now, this might sound good to those of y'all who love technology, but we're going to talk about in a second why there's so much liability with these desktop appraisal programs. What Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are basically saying is that this will speed up the appraisal process if an appraiser no longer has to do such mundane things as walk into a house. And so what they're going to allow them to do is basically ride a joystick through a property on a virtual tour and come up with a value that way. Now, this sounds good, right? And the email that I got from a provider says, I could pitch sellers on using me as a buyer's agent while I'm in their house, pretending I'm an appraiser. I don't know that they want a realtor who's in there earning $60 on a side hustle. And maybe that's just me, but I interview very carefully when I select a realtor. This says it's easy and it's flexible and it's consistent because you're going to get 10 or more new job requests a day. Think about this, y'all. I want you to understand, when Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac change the rules, they backstop about 80% of the mortgage market. And so that's a lot of appraisals that they want to send into a virtual world. And by the way, it says uncapped earning potential. There's no limit to the number you can do. All right. So yeah, this is not great. So I want you to understand something. If you say yes to this, I'm not judging you for needing $60. Okay. I know that we all have tight moments in our lives and the money runs out, and not everybody can go wait tables at night. Although frankly, I could make a heck of a lot more than $60 waiting tables, and I wouldn't have to wander up in somebody's house. But here's the scoop. With these programs, you as a realtor are walking into the liability of an appraiser's world without being an appraiser. All right. That might sound good to you, but let me share with you an instance where a real appraiser encountered a person out doing one of these scans. And I'm just going to leave all the names out and protect the guilty and the innocent alike. Now, this one had a laser and he was there to measure the space with a little laser pointer. The government also wants us to be within inches of square footage on a property. And if you are not in the real estate business, you might not understand that when you look at that heated living area number, that is a wildly objective number, subjective, I mean, because if three of us go measure a house, you're going to get three different numbers because houses are not exact, and the floor plan that you bought from your builder is not always exactly what you get. And I know that might be shocking to you, but builders are human too. So anyway, this appraiser encountered this measure person, and he had told her that he was there to be a data gatherer. All right, that sounds fine. So he saw that the hot water heater, actually she says hot water heater, they're really water heaters, they turn water hot, that's a different discussion. It wasn't strapped. In some states, water heaters have to be strapped, in others they do not. And so this is, again, state by state information. And so this data gatherer said, well, just don't take a picture of it. As a borrower, as the person who lives in that house, I don't think you want the appraiser to just say, don't look at it. And then there was a pool that was open without a covering and it had water in it. Appraisers are supposed to note that because it's a liability issue, and also because it's going to tell us if it's been cared for properly and what the value is of it. There's often some misconceptions about pools, y'all, that they either have zero value or less than zero value, but some buyers find them to be absolutely a critical component of a house. Others don't want one. They're definitely two mixed things, but an appraiser's looking at the accessibility, they're going to look at the safety, the condition of it. And so this data gatherer said, just don't take a picture of that either. There are rules that apply to our independent appraisers. They are governed by their own licensing bodies in the states where we live. And the reason you have an independent appraiser is because the person buying the property, in addition to their bank lender, wants to have some kind of peace of mind about what they're paying for it. Now, we know that in the last 2 years, the markets have been just wildly on fire. And so that means that the appraisals haven't always matched what buyers are willing to pay. But there is a full disclosure of that fact, and many buyers have said they're okay with it. However, especially for our first time buyers, they need the protection of a third party appraisal to know that their investment is as safe as it can be in a fluctuating market in a time of market uncertainty. So, what I will tell you is that if you think about this, when you see this email come across, if you want to earn $60 a pop, just know that your broker needs to know you're signing up for it. Your E&O company, that errors and emissions provider, they need to know you're signing up for this so that you will know how much coverage you do and don't have. And you should also talk to an independent appraiser in your market so that you can make sure that you're absolutely following all the rules if you're going to step off into this world. If you're not willing to tell your broker, call your E&O or follow the rules, for the love of all that's holy, stay out of it. Now, if you're a property buyer, you're a homeowner, and you've called out to get an appraiser to your house for a refinance or to purchase a home, I need you to know something too. An appraiser who does not visit your property is going to have a really hard time giving you a good, accurate valuation, because part of the appraisal process has to do with the sniff test. If a house has had 12 cats in it, it could have a cat urine issue, which could impact the value. If that property sits on the side of a hill and they couldn't see it in a virtual tour, that could impact the value. What if erosion has washed off the driveway and the shrubs too? There are so many factors that come into play. Maybe that street has boarded up houses on it, and the person in there with a laser to measure it does not know to report that. There's differences in waterfront on main channel versus waterfront on a cove versus I can spot the water on December the 14th at 2 p.m. if I squint real hard. And all of those things impact value. It is our independent appraisers, and there's roughly 88,000 in the country. They're the ones that protect and preserve so much of the independent free market that exists in real estate. If you're a realtor, please talk to your appraisers. Make sure they know what's going on so you can support them. If you're a borrower, please tell your bank that you want an independent human appraiser to go in the house. And friends, if it takes you an extra week, then negotiate that with the seller and the listing agent, because I feel confident that most of us want everybody to come through a real estate transaction without leaving blood on the table and without sacrificing our free market to when that moment comes where technology looks like a great solution, but it could create the most problems we've ever seen. That's all I've got to share with you today. If you have questions, you let me know, but you have got to be smart, friends. Don't fall for it. And by the way, if you don't like any of these rules changes, because I do not care for them myself, now is the time to reach out to your elected official in DC and remind them that even though housing policy issues and appraisal issues are not very sexy, they are important to every single neighbor in every single zip code, because the last time I checked, real estate is the American dream, and it's our job to protect and defend it as we protect and defend this amazing country. I'll catch y'all next time.